What's going on, y'all? Christian Hernandez here with Sports Video Group. We're back with yet another edition of our On the Pitch series with our friends in Major League Soccer. We're here with someone from the Six. We have Kadeem Bandali. He is the specialist of match development and events for Toronto FC. Kadeem, how you doing, man? How's the season? And you're not in Canada. You can talk about where you are right now and how's the season's going for you.
Yeah, I'm doing good, Christian. Thank you for having me. As you mentioned, I am not in the Six or Canada for that matter. I am in Florida for the time being. Our Canadian teams aren't able to play at home, so we had to find another base in the US. So shout out to Florida for having us. It's been great so far. The weather's amazing. I can't complain. And looking forward to speaking to you about this.
Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you because you have a unique insight. Because you mentioned all the Toronto teams, mostly besides the Maple Leafs, because they played their season in Canada. The Blue Jays are stuck in the States. The Raptors played in Tampa, and you could think of all the other Canadian teams in Toronto that are playing in the United States right now. But you have a unique scenario because you're working with Gina Catalano and the Orlando City FC team down at Exploria Stadium. Talk to me about, I guess, your relationship working with Gina, how it goes on game day and kind of prepping for the match based in Orlando right now.
It's been great. Gina has been amazing to work with. Her team on the production side has been great. Their stadium ops team has been amazing as well, just helping us facilitate our games while we're down south. So how it works is pretty much any of our content that I need delivered into their system, I will get it from our creative team through a creative brief. They'll send it to me. We'll obviously approve it. And at that point, I'll connect with Gina to get it into their system. We'd like to test all of our content, obviously a couple of days before the match, just to make sure it's all scaled to size, the audio sounds proper, and make sure that it's right for match day. So we would do that, test it out, make sure it's all good to go, and then on match day, a few hours before, go in, do a whole run of show to make sure that everything's flowing and there's no hiccups. And that's how we've been operating in game. Gina's been there to support me. I will direct/produce the match. But she'll just be on my shoulder, just making sure that everything is good. It's obviously their venue, their equipment, their staff that we're relying on a lot. So she knows more about that. And she's been great so far with our matches that we've had at Exploria.
Awesome. So for the individuals that are making the content, they're back in Toronto. What's a day in the life for them being based in Canada while you're in Florida, being in constant communication with them? How have you kind of maintained your collaboration with those folks?
They've been great. So obviously our first load in for our first match at Exploria was a lot. It's all of the content that we would normally show. So that was a heavy lift on their end. Shout out to the people back in Toronto working on all this stuff. I do like to mention that they aren't only doing Toronto FC. They're also doing the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Toronto Raptors, any Argos initiative, any PR initiatives that we have down in Canada. So they've been doing a great job with that. In terms of how it works is I would normally put in a creative brief at least 2 weeks before any of our matches, or at least I tried to get it within the 2 week span. And then they would go back and forth with myself and my manager just to make sure that it's exactly what we want. They would deliver it to us. We would approve it, and then it starts the transition into Gina and her team and how we get it developed in stadium.
I'll tell you what, deadlines have a little bit more forgiveness when you're producing things across international borders and during COVID. So you guys are getting the job done there. I guess we can talk about how it's like inside the venue on game day, because you mentioned before the call, you guys unfortunately don't have supporters down in Orlando. So while Orlando City FC has fans there, you guys aren't. What is it like inside of the venue and kind of creating that, I guess, psychological atmosphere that they think people are here or they feel like they're at home, or how do you kind of dress it up?
So to that point in dressing it up, we have Melissa Frith, who has been amazing at just making sure that all the signage in venue is not as purple as it is normally. Exploria Stadium is very purple, and they've done an amazing job to brand that stadium, their colors. But obviously going in and having Toronto FC home games
Yeah.
there, we would like people or / the players to see red as much as possible. So for their walkout tunnels, we dressed it up to make sure that it's all lined with red instead of purple, so that they feel a sense of home and can relate to being at BMO Field. And then other things that we do that the players might notice is just any club traditions. So our starting 11s with their animations, their player cards on the video board, our PA announcer kind of putting more energy into shouting them out, so they feel that they have the energy coming from elsewhere except for on the field. Right. Crowd noise is something that we have implemented, but it's not in venue for that matter. The players like to be able to hear each other and I think they weren't able to train with it, so they didn't want to play it in venue. But that's totally fine. We pump it in through broadcast, so our Canadian viewers at home can kind of hear that BMO atmosphere. Any supporter chants that we would normally hear at BMO Field is displayed within the broadcast feed. Our goal song, which we had to kind of put together to make sure that our players felt that sense of home, is also there. So when we score, I play the goal song. But other than that, we do our best to kind of dress up the stadium. There's other bits and pieces throughout the venue that we kind of branded red in Toronto FC to make it feel somewhat like home. And then also on broadcast, we do have our virtual signage. So shout out our global partnership team working with the MLS and league and broadcast to make sure that when Canadian viewers are seeing it back home, they see all of our partners as well as all of our internal branding, whether that be TFC or they will see red on the TV, just to make sure that it's once again, it's a sense of red and being proud and being at home.
Branding is very important, and the color is very important because when you're playing far away from home, you gotta have a little piece of home cooking while you can. Another interesting layer is you haven't played all your games at Exploria Stadium. You've played it also in other a non-MLS match at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa in Florida. How is the relationship with those folks for that one match, or kind of getting the job done when you're not in the home away from home that you're used to now? Because I guess you can have residency here in Orlando for a while, right?
I mean, yeah, I've been here for a couple of months, and who knows how long I'll be down here. But yeah, Raymond James, they were great to work with. Their staff were amazing as well. We didn't have that much content for those matches in terms of player animations or anything on the video board, only because it was a CONCACAF match. So everything that we put up is dictated by them. And there was a tight turnaround for us to get our content into that venue. And as you can imagine, Raymond James, their screen is huge.
Yeah.
So the specs for that and for us to deliver and get our creative team back home to respec everything wouldn't have made that timeline. But they were great to work with. As I mentioned, it was very short notice that we were going to play there. So their staff were amazing in putting the little creative that we did up, making sure that all of our audio cues were on point. And yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about Raymond James and Exploria as well so far.
So you mentioned a lot about the virtual signage on the linear platform back in Canada, but there's also some things that fans could do to kind of have like a second screen virtual experience when they're watching a Toronto FC match. Can you dive a little bit deeper into what that is?
Yeah, for sure. So MLSC has implemented Real Sports Entertainment. So it's kind of like an internal platform where our game presentation team will push out content to the fans, and they can use it as a second screen platform. So they can be watching TFC on their screen, and then our team back home will be pushing out trivia, different stats, facts, and they can win prizes through this. So it's something that we've implemented across the Leafs, the Raptors, and TFC, just to kind of still engage our fans back home, because they've been out of the building for a year and a few months now.
Yeah.
So just having that connection with them and making sure that they're still engaged and wanting to be our fans and still supporting us from where they can is something that we greatly appreciate from our team and the fans that have been viewing so far.
Last but not least, Kadeem, shout out to those crew members that you want to give kudos to, because you guys have been doing this for quite a while. You mentioned before the call you have been playing matches in Hartford going back to the 2020 MLS season. It's been a long road for you guys. So you guys, you deserve recognition for the entire team. Do you have a couple of names, or just overall how proud you are of your team?
Yeah, for sure. Off the top, Melissa Frith has been amazing to work with. Funny story, she actually hired me to be her intern in 2016. And 5 years later, we're working together hand in hand to make sure that all these games are put on smoothly. So shout out to her. Obviously, my manager, Miguel Ferreira, who is back at home in Toronto. He is in Arizona right now, supporting our second team. So TFC2 are playing in the USL League One. So he's there facilitating those matches. So shout out to him for kind of guiding me and leading the way and making sure that I have everything I need to put on these games away from home. And then all of our creative team, I mean, Greg Howe, Ben Kane, Kevin Mones, a bunch of people that, like, I don't even realize what they do, but they push out content, and they do push back sometimes, but I totally get it. Sometimes our asks are not within that timeline, but I appreciate them so much, because without them, then the players wouldn't be seeing anything on the video board. I would have nothing to push in venue. So those are the few names I can remember off the top of my head. And if I forgot about you, I'm totally sorry. But that's it for now.
Terrific. You guys have gone above and beyond the past now longer than this season. So you guys deserve a nice When you get back to Toronto, nice sleep in your own bed, a nice home cooked meal. But when the time is right, I hope to actually go up to Toronto and say hi and get a match with you. But for now, thanks for taking the time, man. Good luck the rest of the way, and keep having fun while you're in the States.
Thank you, Christian. Appreciate this.